welcome. I am Tradman from Mackay Window Cleaning Services. Today we're having a quick look at all the traditional window cleaning tools that I currently use. Now what we're going to do is have a look right back at the beginning, what I used when I first started out, things that I maybe used in the interim between then and now, and then obviously what I'm using now. So let's go and have a quick look at what we have at our disposal. So we'll start at this end. So this right here is basically what I started with. So we've got an old Ettore brass channel. You can see it's rather weathered. Seen a lot of action that. We also have a Unger channel here as well. This one was a 14-inch and this one a 12. Great things to start off with. Back in the day, this is before the likes of the Mormon liquidators and accelerators and all that kind of thing came out. This here is a very cheap squeegee that when I first started out, I literally had the guts of £100 to spend and went and bought a starter kit on eBay. So this is one of the squeegees that kind of came with it. So that was quite a good little squeegee to get me started anyway. Some little applicators here that I used. I think these were Pulex ones. Really nice and cheap, especially for starting off. I would recommend, guys, what I do now actually with these applicators, if I no longer use them for cleaning windows anyway, I use them to clean signs. Now what I mean by that is, like, take for instance, I've got some local shops here that if they ever ask me to clean the sign above their doors, I'll use this to clean the signs, and it's really good. Just get a bucket of water, a tiny little bit of soap in it, and clean them with these. So don't ever throw away tools, guys. They'll always find a use. After using these ones, I then moved on to Unger's applicators here. They were quite good. I mean, they hold sort of a medium amount of water. The scrubbing power is not particularly too wonderful. And the handle itself, it's not too bad. But I mean, when it was first new, those grooves, after using it all day, it just didn't feel particularly pleasant in the hand to use. So, you know, they're okay. Not too bad, not too bad. So then moving on, when I moved on to things that were supposed to be sort of detail-free, this, Unger S Plus channel. A lot of guys still use this, nothing wrong with it. It was a nice squeegee to use, nice and easy. Felt quite good in the hand. It's, yeah, nothing wrong with that at all. You can see there where it kind of grips the rubber with those teeth. So that's quite a good little squeegee there. So that's what I moved on to after coming from the brass channels. So that was really good. After that, I don't actually think I've got a channel for it in just now, but I moved on to the liquidators. Now that's just the handle itself. When it first came out, I got one of these and it was really good. I discovered these squeegees through YouTube actually. So, you know, it just proves again that YouTube can be such a handy tool. After using the liquidators for a while, I then went and bought this, which is the combinator. For you guys that haven't seen this before, just a quick overview of what this is. It is basically an applicator and a squeegee combined in one. So hence the name combinator. Okay, so you got this little catch here that you can turn. And you can either have the applicator on that side, which is on just now, or you can put that applicator on the front of the squeegee and have it as a one-pass tool. It was a very good tool, especially for, you know, as I was practicing my pole work. Very good tool. I loved it. I got a lot of use, and yeah, cracking great tool. But then later on, this was like my happiest moment in the window cleaning career. This came out. Everyone should know, and if you don't, why not? This is the Mormon accelerator, my favorite tool to use. This is literally a detail-free super squeegee. You can adjust it between 10, 25 and 40 degrees. It's got a swivel mechanism or a fixed mechanism. So at the moment, because that's the one I use in hand, this is a 10-inch. You can push the button underneath there to that direction, and then it becomes a swivel like that. And then as soon as you don't want it like that anymore, you can just push the button and it's fixed again. Absolutely fantastic squeegee. Couldn't ask more from a squeegee if you possibly wanted to. Recently also went and bought the Mormon applicator. This is a 14-inch. Absolutely fantastic applicator. The water retention on this is absolutely fantastic. It will easily do, another 50% more windows than that. That's why I've moved on to using it. And the handle's also really good as well. It feels pretty solid and well made, and it's a smooth handle as well, as opposed to that one which has grooves cut out in it. Just doesn't feel particularly nice in the hand all day to use, whereas this, nice and smooth, feels solid and rigid, and really light as well. So absolutely fantastic applicator. The scrubbing power of it is not great, to be honest. It's still quite smooth, but I mean, because I do my jobs once a month, I don't really find much of my work has that much ingrained dirt, and if it does, I'll either just use the abrasive pad on the end there, or I'll use my scraper if I have to. So, but yeah, I would highly recommend this stuff. It's really, really good. I made this because at the moment there isn't a 6-inch liquidator squeegee. So basically what I did was took a channel that I wasn't using and cut it down. And then because these are the 2.0 end clips, I had to cut a little groove out of the channel to get these clips to fit on. This is an old Unger handle, should I say, that's basically been loosened off so that the teeth can just sort of slide in from that side onto the middle, click it on, and there you go, 6-inch squeegee. So it's really good for small little French window panes, or even just on residential doors, whereby a lot of, especially here in the UK, the doors have very thin glass going down it. That is an absolutely perfect squeegee for doing that. Really good. I had basically a brief moment using these. This is the Ettore Contour Pro Plus. I used it for a little while. I did like it, but the problem with it is that the mechanism here for supposed to be tightening and loosening the spring, it doesn't really do much. It still feels exactly the same, because I wanted a little bit looser, especially for me, perhaps putting it on a pole, because it's supposed to zero out. So if I click that, like that, it's got that spring in it, and what it's meant to do is if you come to basically a scenario where closing out at that angle is an issue and you need more of a 0 degree, you can apply more pressure and it zeroes out. But the spring is so solid that you have to put a fair amount of pressure on it to get it to close out and zero out. So it still needs work, that it needs loosened off, but to be honest, I still prefer the accelerator handle. It feels a lot sort of lighter in hand, and doesn't obviously have that sort of high tension spring there. You can just adjust it yourself manually. So I've kind of gotten used to, when I'm squeegeeing down the window, when I need to maybe apply it to maybe 10 degrees. Say if I'm still in 25, I'll just push the button, do that, and then carry on, going down the window. So that's how I've kind of got around that one. These are the poles that I use. So here we have a short pole, and basically what I use that for is, say for instance I go inside of a customer's house, and they ask me to maybe do a kitchen window, that I have to lean over the sink, or try and get past obstacles. This saves obviously having to try and lean over things or climb up on a work surface. It's a really good sort of little indoor pole to take with you on indoor work. So that's really good. Medium-sized pole here. Basically what I use that for is things like bungalows, just things that are still a little bit too high for me to reach, and would require a set of steps. This is just absolutely ideal for doing those kind of windows, and it's fairly light. It's just got the 2 sections there, and that's really good for sort of low work, or storefronts, that kind of thing. That would be really handy for. This big beast is a 20-foot pole. It's quite good. It's rather heavy after using it for 8-9 hours a day every day, but it is quite well made. And I've also got the angle adapter here, which is absolutely essential. If you're doing residential pole work, I would highly recommend getting an angle adapter, as you'll come across scenarios where you might have deep sills or deep frames to contend with. For the cloths that I use, we have 2 microfiber types here. This kind here, you can see it's a bit more of a sort of fluffy texture to it, as opposed to this one, which is more smooth. So the difference being, if you don't know, is that this one primarily is going to be used for detailing. So if you leave a little mark on the glass, or you've got leaded windows that you need to kind of polish up, this is the one that you would use for glass. These kind of ones you would use for maybe cleaning the frames and sills. I would highly recommend these cloths. These are really good. These are actually made by Unger. But the reason I rate them so highly is because they dry out super quick. So once I've used them and they're soaking wet and maybe a bit dirty, I'll give them a wash out, wring them out, and then hang them up to dry inside of the van. And within a couple of hours, they're bone dry again. So you can get away with using maybe only a couple of cloths a day. So it's really, really good. So that's it as in regards the handheld tools there. So you can kind of see, so this is the early days here. You've got sort of your brass squeegees, which I suppose a lot of traditional guys will be used to. And then you've got sort of the early days of the applicators that I used to use here. Moving on to then Unger applicator and Unger squeegee. And then coming along the table, we sort of get into the Mormon range, which is the range that I will forevermore be sticking with. It's just simply my own opinion, awesome. And they look fantastic. I love the color scheme of the black and blue there, absolutely fantastic. Like I say, there's a couple of little things here that we've missed out, sorry. We've got a couple of single squeegee holsters. These are Etere ones, rather weathered as you can see. But yeah, they're quite good. I mean, they've stood the test of time, so you know, I highly recommend them. Only downside to using these kind of holsters as opposed to using the hip bucket is you're going to get a wet leg. So you know, it depends. It depends. If you don't mind it, then go with it. But if you prefer not to get a soaking wet leg, you're probably better still using the putting the squeegees in the bucket on the belt. You've got an SBC twin squeegee holster here. Highly rate this actually. The only downside to it, to be honest, is when it's on your belt, it sometimes occasionally feels like it's a way to fall out. I don't know if a lot of you guys have used these ones. I suppose it all depends on the length of your channel as well. If you're using a long channel, then obviously it'll be fine, but I have quite small squeegees that I use, and they just do not like being put in this kind of holster. It just feels like they're going to fall out. So, but it is a good holster. It is a good holster. Okay, right, moving on. We have the trad belt. So here we have the Makita belt. It's a really rigid belt. It doesn't twist or buckle. This has done me, this must be the 3rd year now that I've been using this belt. Still pretty much pristine. Absolutely brilliant belt, that one. Here we have the Mormon bucket on a belt. The reason I love this one is because it has a little clip here with a quick release. Now the reason I love that is because this belt stays on my hip all day. So the only thing that really comes off when I'm leaving a job and driving between jobs is I just unclick this, like that, ka-ching, and off it comes. I just chuck that into the box in my van and away I go. And then click it back on when I arrive at the next job. So it's really quite good. An added feature that I like about it, as opposed to a lot of other bucket on a belts, is this feature here that they've added to stop it swinging around on your belt. So you can see there, it'll stop it swinging. So, which also means it doesn't batter off your leg all the time. Another little handy feature there. So yeah, that's a great little bucket on the belt there for you. I also use 2 pouches here. One for clean cloths, one for wet cloths. As you can see, I also keep a bottle of pure dish soap in there as well. The reason being is that I'll normally put dish soap straight from there onto the applicator rather than using pre-made solution. This gives me an increased slip on the glass, especially when using the Mormon product range. They really like it to be quite soapy and a soapy consistency, so that's why I do that. We've also got the 6-inch scraper here with a 6-inch scraper holster. This is really good for sort of quick release. You can get the scraper in and out of there nice and quick, and it saves you having to take a cap off the end every time. That's quite good. We've also got the bottle holder here. So this is the bottle that I'll use. So I'll keep clean water in there, and then just keep that into the bottle holder. And when I need water onto my applicator, just give it a quick sloosh with the water, and away we go. So Also got a twin squeegee holster here for keeping my 6-inch sill squeegee, which is this one here. So I'll literally just keep that for wiping away excess water on the sills. And also keep my 6-inch liquidator in there as well for doing the small windows as well. Moving on to the buckets. Right, this was my original bucket that I first started out with, but it didn't come with a lid, and I wanted something a bit bigger as well. So then I ended up buying this one, which is a bit bigger, but it's also got this added feature of a lid with a rubber seal. So that's really good because being in a open cab van as well, I have experienced if the lid wasn't properly on, you get a little bit of sloshing around with the water, and the water ended up in the front of the cab. So really good bucket there to use. Nice little window cleaner at work sticker on there as well. So yes, the old bucket now I just use for storing all my cloths for the day, and that's the bucket that I'll keep all my clean water in. I normally fill it up about maybe 3/4 of the way, and that lasts me most of the day. And finally over here we've got my rubber tidy box with all my pre-cut rubbers. The dish soap that I use at the moment is Fairy, and that's pretty much everything, guys. So there you go. So there you go. You've seen the trad belt, you've seen the buckets, the solution that I use, all the applicators and squeegees, holsters, poles, and everything that I use. And also this is just a little handy tip for you guys as well. I would also keep a toolbox on you, so you can keep all your bits and bobs if you ever need to repair anything. Got spare scrapers, channels, screwdrivers, everything under the sun in there just for any repairs. Got spare end clips if ever needed, tape, scissors, all that kind of stuff. So, hopefully you've enjoyed that video. That's all of the tools that I use for traditional window cleaning set up for you there. And if there's any questions at all, any recommendations or anything that you'd like to know about traditional window cleaning, please do get in touch, leave a little comment in the box below. We also have a link to our Mackay Facebook page in the description below, so you can click on that and it'll fire you through to Mackay Window Cleaning's page on Facebook, and you can message us through there if you'd like to maybe send a private message, just whatever suits. Okay guys.